If Arthur Smith wants the game to be over so bad, why is he still throwing the ball? So you can understand Logan Woodside's situation, but you can't understand Jamal Williams' situation? To the other coach, Dennis Allen, bro, grow some backbone.
And I'm going to start off by apologizing to Arthur Smith.
Our guys shouldn't apologize for 1 second for the performance they went out there and did today. And
Hancock and a friend began raising funds through GoFundMe for a Fire Dennis Allen billboard. In just a couple of days, the billboard nearly reached its goal.
I stand on business.
You know, there's that expression, he lost the locker room. I don't know that he ever had the locker room to lose it.
And people will say, well, Shannon, what about when Dan Marino fake spiked the ball or Peyton Manning? They were not in victory formation.
Well, the Titans defensive line is diving through the O-line. Nobody in the media gave a damn about this. So my question is simple. How is this different? But the reaction was so strong, I was just like, is it that serious?
I would cut Jameis Winston today.
This is why explains why Jameis Winston will never be what people wanted him to be because of this.
What? Don't blame us for being disrespectful. Blame us for just being a team. Makes zero sense. We'll find out if Jameis is still the backup quarterback of the Saints.
Man, we got an interception to the 1 yard line. Yeah. You know, like, yeah. So if we would have scored, would it still would have been disrespectful?
Right.
I got no problem with him trying to get the touchdown for his teammate, but to me, running the play out of the kneel down formation is like sucker punching a guy that was trying to bump gloves with you at the beginning of a boxing match. You make a good point. I think it was a cheap shot doing it in a victory formation, but wanting to run up the score at the end of the game isn't a big deal. I understand both sides as far as the play itself and the feelings it produced. As far as Winston and his post-game interview, he's one of the most entertaining players in the league, especially with a mic in front of him. I don't want him on my team, but I'm glad he's in the league. My thing is, Jamal took the handoff, the left side of the line, fired off the ball like they expected someone to take a handoff. So why is Jameis the only one catching heat for it? That is actually a very good question. Man, shout out to everybody who left their opinion on the post, and like we all should, I respect everybody's opinion. But sit back, man, chill, because for the next few minutes, I'm about to let you in on mine.
Well, I apologize to DA because the play was victory. But I also explained to DA that it was a team decision. And I think when you have a team morale, and I asked the guys, I said, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective. So I give him that. DA didn't condone that at all. You know, he didn't. However, we decided as a team to do it, and man, we got an interception to the 1 yard line. If we would have scored, would it still would have been disrespectful? You know what I mean? I think it should be forgotten, especially when the score is already 41-17. So I don't know how much worse it can get. But I got a ton of respect for Arthur Smith. I didn't want to disrespect him. That was not my intention. My intention was to lead the team that I've been with the entire year. And we made a collective decision that we wanted to get one of our guys who they fight with blood, sweat, and tears every game in the end zone. And I'm going to feel good about that.
So in 2022, Jamal Williams led the league in rushing touchdowns. 17 rushing touchdowns. That's more than Derrick Henry, more than Jalen Hurts with the tush push, more than Nick Chubb, more than Christian McCaffrey. The most rushing touchdowns in the NFL. Now, he had a great year, but nobody thought he was a better overall running back than any of those guys. But what you knew he could do, to use a basketball reference, is finish at the rim. Get him close and it's a bucket. So the 2022 NFL rushing touchdown leader goes to the Saints and doesn't score a touchdown all season until Jameis Winston and the Saints offense went against their coach and got their teammate his only touchdown of the season. Now, when I came across this news, I was focused on something else. I wasn't online, so I ain't really see the reaction. I just saw what happened and was able to form my own opinion independent of what other people thought. And that's a big deal because a lot of times today you find out things through other people's reactions. You see it trending and you click it, you don't just see the news. What you usually see first is people reacting to the news. So already, whether you conscious of it or not, your opinion is being colored by other people's opinion. But if y'all ever had a situation where you hear the news first, form your opinion about it, and then see the reaction, and when you see the reaction, it hits you, you're like, this is a big deal? People are really this upset? It's a crazy feeling, really. I saw they scored an extra touchdown and said, okay, who cares? This is grown man football. It ain't Pop Warner. Not to mention you playing a division rival in the last game of the season and neither one of these teams going to the playoffs. So then my boy sent me the Jameis clip I played at the beginning. And I go from, man, who gives a damn to, wow, that's pretty cool. And my mind actually went to, that's the type of thing that brings a locker room together. Before I hit this next part, I got to appreciate the fact that after all these years, I can still be naive. I thought I lost that for a minute, you know, because when you always online, it can make you all jaded and expecting the worst out of people. But I was naive. I'm over here thinking not only is it not a big deal, but at the end of the day, I think more highly of Jameis. But then after a few days, I finished what I was doing, come back online and see the reaction. Well, I'll be damned.
I would cut Jameis Winston today.
This is why explains why Jameis Winston will never be what people wanted him to be because of this.
What?
The coach called victory formation. He said it was a team decision. What team? There was no defensive players on the field. The team is a team. So the team is just offense now?
No, I mean the offense that was on the field at the time.
That's
said,
not a team.
We want to get the touchdown for brother.
That's not
for
what
brother
you
Jamal.
see. You see what happens when you go rogue?
So
actually, he convinced me. Like, sure, I'm fine with it.
When a head coach, listen,
man,
come on,
in that work.
I understand that, but the head coach said take a knee.
Right.
See, so he's got the coach's back. Don't blame the coach. Blame us, and don't blame us for being disrespectful. Blame us for just being a team. Makes zero sense. So we'll find out if Jameis is still the backup quarterback of the Saints.
Not only did people treat this like a big deal, but they was killing Jameis, saying dude should be cut behind it. And like they had a couple of points, you know, ignoring the coach or whatever, but the reaction was so strong, I was just like, is it that serious? Now I have no real issues with the people using the clip, but in this case, they represent the opposite side of my perspective. So I wanted to give a different viewpoint of this whole situation, so the rest of the video is just gonna be me stating my case. I wanna start with a play from last year's NBA season, because for whatever reason, when I saw the reactions, this is what I thought about. So last year, Austin Reeves gets fouled by Devin Booker. He falls to the ground and he lays there for a second. DeAndre Ayton, who has nothing to do with the play, and I don't know him, but he has a reputation for being a soft player. But because it's Lil Austin laying on the ground, Ayton decides to walk over and try to stand over him. Now Pat Bev comes over and in my opinion does the right thing, bro. He takes up for his teammate. That's all fine and good. But the reason I'm showing this is because I believe Ayton is only doing this because he thinks Reeves is an easy target. Put a pin in that. You ever been around somebody who takes constant disrespect and be scared to defend themselves in almost every situation? But when somebody they know who will not fight back says something, all of a sudden they bucking super hard. Now, I'm not trying to say the people who went after Jameis are that person. Most of them have been known to go after people who will fight back in the past. All I'm trying to say is that it seems to be a part of human nature to go a little harder when it's somebody who you know won't fight back. I just feel like Jameis Winston is a super easy target. He's this happy-go-lucky guy. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of goofy. So when he does something, I just feel like people react a little harder because he's Jameis Winston. Do that make any sense? Now, the one issue I take in the whole situation, I don't love the fact that they did it out the victory formation. I don't love that. I would prefer they did it out of regular formation, but I think the outrage is a little overblown, and here's why. I can remember the Bengals playing against the Titans. Maybe it was last year, maybe it was the year before. And the game's basically over, so in the red zone, I believe, the Bengals kneel out the clock. Well, the Titans defensive line is diving through the O-line, while the Bengals are trying to take a knee for a game that's already over. They're trying to do the right thing and not run up the score, but the D-line decided that they wasn't done yet. Now, somebody could have got hurt, Bengals O-line was upset, but nobody in the media gave a damn about this. And this has happened plenty of times with certain defenses across the league, and the response is always the same: play to the last whistle. So my question is simple. How is this different? Why is this a big deal, but the other ones don't matter? I'll give you another one. Not exactly the same thing, but the principle is the same. In my eyes, at least. Kenny Pickett. Remember this highlight from Kenny Pickett's time in college where he literally pretends he's gonna give himself up? He pretends to concede like the Saints did in victory formation, then proceeds to score a touchdown and blow kisses to the crowd. See, I never liked this play because if the defender doesn't let up and he hits Kenny, but the ref thought he was really trying to slide, now that defender gets thrown out the game. So I'm either tossed out the game or I gotta let you score a 50-yard touchdown. Now listen, when it happened, some people were against it. And after the fact, they even changed the damn rule. But the press around this play, the coverage of the play, was overwhelmingly positive. This was treated as a highlight. Okay, as a Bengals fan, I shouldn't pick on Kenny Pickett. Maybe you think I'm biased, so let me give you a play from my favorite team. I'll find the footage, but I think this was 2 years ago now. The Bengals were playing against the Ravens and beating them pretty bad. Matter of fact, bro, the score is eerily similar to the game we talking about. The game's very clearly over. Now, the coach, Zach Taylor, asked Joe not to scramble. Take the check down or throw the ball away. Ball snaps and there's short throws on each side to get the first down. Joe scrambles anyway. He scrambles out the pocket, throws a clear out route to Joe Mixon. This is a pass that never gets thrown, and the pass actually puts him over 500 yards on the day. Against a division rival? Who you kidding, bro? I loved it. My coach wasn't thrilled because he definitely told him not to do that, but unlike Dennis Allen, when he got in the post-game press conference, he wasn't overtly rude, but he handled it way different.
You're not going to feel sorry for that situation.
No.
But, I mean,
Heck no. No, heck no. No. They week 17 last year, we had hardly anybody left, you know, and I didn't feel anybody minimizing their win against us. And so we sure as heck know how hard it is to win in December. These guys have fought hard. We asked them to answer the bell. They did. And that's still the Baltimore Ravens out there playing meaningful football for them.
And I'm going to start off by apologizing to Arthur Smith and the Falcons.
And so our guys shouldn't apologize for 1 second for the performance they went out there and did today.
And Joe's reaction was my reaction to the Jameis situation. Now, a few people in the media, mostly ex-Ravens players, had something to say, but the overwhelming majority did not care. It was not a big deal. Everybody loved the shrug. It's a division rival game. We are not nice to each other. Just like the Falcons versus the Saints, bro. You still playing football. If you want to stop them, go out there and stop them. It's slightly different, not victory formation, but you see my point. My expectation of the reaction was what I'd seen in the past. Now, if he wasn't on the one, I might see it a little different. If not for the specific Jamal situation, I might see it a little different. But given the situation as I've laid it out so far, I don't really get how you can get as much more than a... Okay, let's move to the coaches, bro, because I got opinions on both. If Arthur Smith wants the game to be over so damn bad, why is he still throwing the ball? This is 1st and 10. If you really want this over, you can run the football. You in control of the game here. So if we being honest, you really brought these extra points on yourself. You got the ball. If it's over, why not just run the clock out? Well, maybe he wanted to get his 28-year-old back up a couple of snaps as the season is ended. So you can understand Logan Woodside's situation, but you can't understand Jamal Williams' situation? To the other coach, Dennis Allen. Bro, grow some backbone. This was a chance to earn some respect amongst your players, but you fumbled by apologizing to a division rival. You could have said, I wasn't trying to disrespect him, I was just looking out for my guy. I understand that you didn't call this play, and in the locker room, you had every right to go off a little bit, but to throw your whole team under the bus to appease the opposing team coach, who's taking his anger out at you, but is really upset with how his whole season went, and the fact that he knows he's about to get fired. That extra touchdown did not get him fired. Like Jameis said, bro, this was already a beatdown. But after you don't even acknowledge what they did for Jamal Williams, who despite scoring 0 touchdowns according to his teammates, still showing up, playing super hard, blocking, doing every single thing that he's supposed to do. You could have said, well, I didn't call that, but they were looking out for their guy, for our guy. And you know what? I'll take the heat for that. Like, to me, bro, that's how you win respect in the locker room. Why you so worried about the Falcons? They're gonna try to beat you down anyway. So while certain people are saying that they should get rid of Jameis, in my opinion, you should just get rid of Dennis Allen. The locker room loves Jameis, and they clearly don't like or respect Dennis Allen, or they wouldn't have went rogue. Not to mention, Dennis Allen's got to be partially responsible for last year's rushing touchdown leader not having one single touchdown. Looking the other way here could have helped make up for that. So instead of throwing fades with Derek Carr in the red zone, maybe you could have got some Taysom Hill, Jamal Williams action out there. That's a red zone touchdown waiting to happen. That's a hard read option to stop inside the 10-yard line. So if you get rid of Jameis and you keep Dennis Allen, is that gonna change how the locker room feels about him? Is that gonna make them respect him more or make them like him more? It's a rhetorical question, dog. I'm gonna just let you answer that. But here's Saints leader Cam Jordan talking about Dennis Allen. He was asked a simple question: do you trust Dennis Allen? Again, this man is a veteran and he's great with the media, bro. Super well spoken. Do you trust Dennis Allen? Cam Jordan, go.
I mean, DA is our head coach. So as long as that is the same sentence, it's going to be the same sentence. Of course, we believe that we're going to get our things together.
Getting rid of Jameis won't fix that. Now, I lived in Baton Rouge for 10 years of my life, so needless to say, I know a lot of Saints fans. I'm the football guy, so when I talk to them, we always talk ball. I talk a little about my Bengals and they talk about the Saints. I ain't talked to a single Saints fan who endorsed Dennis Allen. This is despite me at the time trying to build a case for him. They was not trying to hear it. I was like, give a man a chance. But as time has gone on, like I see what they seeing. My homeboy even sent me this one crazy story. This is how bad Saints fans want this man out of town.
Frustration has grown to new levels among Saints fans following yet another season missing the playoffs, and many are calling for the firing of head coach Dennis Allen, including Ryan Hancock. In an attempt to make sure the fans were heard, Hancock and a friend began raising funds through GoFundMe on January 8th for a Fire Dennis Allen billboard that would be placed on Earhart Boulevard. In just a couple of days, the billboard nearly reached its goal and Hancock began to put the plan in motion. That's when he says the advertising company decided to raise its price to an unachievable amount.
Because we had the money raised within like 2 days. It went from that to another amount. And we were like, screw it, we'll just give everyone back their money.
Shortly after, though, an anonymous donor got in touch with him and said he is going to fully fund a new billboard project with Lamar Advertising this time.
They decided to come along and do it, and I can't thank that money fairy enough.
Hancock says because he has one fan paying for the whole thing, he's refunding everyone else's money, and he's in the process of finalizing an agreement with a billboard company.
I stand on business.
Now the rumor is the Saints themselves bid up the price for the billboard. I can't confirm that one at all, but you know, that's what people are saying. The point is, if fans are willing to go through all of that, and now dude's on record pandering to a division rival, on top of missing the playoffs in not the strongest division, throwing Jameis and the whole locker room under the bus, after, mind you, they just won by 30. Keeping him seems way more damaging than keeping Jameis. Getting rid of Jameis Winston won't solve anything. For a lot of players on that team, it's gonna make things worse. Let's do the math, bro. The players love Jameis. Then he does something to help out another player who's beloved in the locker room. If your only response is to cut Jameis Winston, it's hard to believe the locker room is gonna really get behind that. Bro, just bring in a new coach, have him embrace the damn team, because y'all got talent. The problem is, bro, the vibes is horrible. Dennis Allen lost the locker room way before this point, which is evident by the fact that they did this in the first place. And Dennis Allen already has somewhat of a reputation for being a guy who's really not a good leader of men. This is former Raiders CEO Amy Trask. She worked with Dennis Allen for one season when he coached in Oakland, and she spoke very clearly and very candidly on her thoughts of this man. She didn't have a lot of good things to say.
Everything I observed during that year is such that when that play happened, I wasn't the least bit surprised. Now, if it happened to any other coach, I would have been surprised. Shortly after Dennis was hired by the Saints, I was asked about his coaching, his leadership. I shared my views of Dennis's leadership, and I use that word in quotes. And I quickly noted that, look, we can all learn on the job, we can grow on the job, we can improve on the job. Dennis can do that as well. And what that play made clear to me is he has not changed his leadership style. So was I surprised that that happened? I may have been one of the only people who was not surprised that happened. Well, I observed him for a year. I don't know if it was 12 months, but it was obviously for a full season. You know, there's that expression, he lost the locker room. I don't know that he ever had the locker room to lose it.
This year, you've seen evidence of the same thing with the Saints. Simple stuff like dudes parking in the wrong parking lot, not logging in to go study the playbook. It just screams this is a coach that the team doesn't respect. I believe that led to this little small revolt. And instead of addressing the effect, which in this case is Jameis, it would make way more sense to address the damn cause. Like, don't treat the symptom, treat the underlying condition. I like to think that a coach who really cared about his players would have gone out of his way to get Jamal Williams a touchdown. It's a very, very specific situation, from touchdown leader to no touchdowns, and he shows up and plays hard anyway. If your reply is, it's his job, he's supposed to play hard anyway. Okay, cool, that's his job, but you ain't gotta treat him like crap. My AC kept breaking this summer. The air conditioning man had to come out in that 120-degree heat every couple weeks. Now check it out, that's his job. I don't owe him nothing but the arm and a leg he charging me to fix this. But I still give the people a couple bottles of water. Just because somebody getting paid don't mean you gotta be an a-hole. So looking at the situation, nobody lost nothing, but a good guy in the whole situation gained a small token. The Falcons was already getting blown out. Arthur Smith was already getting fired. Dennis Allen had already lost the locker room. So at the end of the day, What's the big deal? And I get that you're supposed to listen to your coach, but when you have a crappy boss at work, you don't do everything he said. When I worked in sales and they said every sales associate gotta close their own deal, I still help my coworkers close a deal so they can get some money. And if I get in trouble for something like that, it's like, do I really want to work here if I'm not allowed to do the bare minimum to help my damn coworker? And a lot of people in this one way is kind of like the players. You can't just quit your damn job, so you gotta deal with the BS. But it unnecessarily lowers morale and makes the job 100 times harder than it really needs to be. So forget the unwritten rules that don't get followed anyway. Forget a couple hurt feelings by people who got way bigger problems. If you're thinking like a corporation, you might be mad at this. But if you care about the people, it's hard to be upset.